So the first thing I would say, if Donald Trump asked for my debate prep thoughts, and he hasn't, is just do not get off message. This is an opportunity to spread your message. And it almost doesn't matter what the moderator asks or how Kamala Harris needles you. He did a good job of this at that debate against Joe Biden on CNN in June. If you go back and look, he was remarkably on message, especially for Trump, who tends to meander. Immigration, 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 inflation, inflation, inflation. It's easy. They both begin with I. He can just keep saying them over and over and over. And there's a way, when I was at Jones Day, the law firm at which I practiced for many years, they gave us a seminar when we were young lawyers on how to bridge away from any conversation you don't want to be in. Because as a litigator standing in front of a judge, you need that skill. And bridging is pretty easy if you just know how to do it. It's like, Megan, how much do you weigh? Or this is a question no one wants to answer. No woman wants to answer. It's funny that you should ask me that because I was actually just on this scale the other day. It was so bizarre. It showed you not only your weight, but it showed you the weight of the person who had been on before you. And I thought to myself, who really wants this? What are we going to have, like something that reveals age next? And, speaking of age, I was just at my niece's wedding and I was there. I was thinking all about the passage of time and age. And just how, yes, with age comes wisdom, but also this recognition that the next generation is rising, how important they are to one's legacy and one's experience of meaning on this earth. And it was just such an amazing experience. So anyway, thanks for asking. What's your question? Right? So then we move on. You can easily just get out of what you've been asked and onto a topic you would like to discuss. If you just take the nugget, don't reject the nugget. You're trying to make it look like you're answering, but then meander your way over here. Now, if you have an effective moderator, they will say, the question was, how much do you weigh? Right? But here, let me tell you the truth of being a debate moderator. Every follow-up question and pressing for an answer to your first question qualifies, comes at the expense of another question. So it's not like an interview where you may have lots of time and you can drill down. Every issue you get to, every question has been curated and vetted at a place like ABC in particular, but everywhere. And you are going to have to sacrifice your later little darlings if you spend too much time on this one darling. And so if you're a candidate, you'd be very wise on something you didn't much like to waste the moderator's time, both because it gives you the chance to give your message and because you're putting the moderator in a tough position. If he or she really wants to press you on it, they have to make a real choice there. We went back and looked at the CNN debate in June. And Debbie Murphy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there were 16 questions. 17 questions total. 10 follow-ups, all right? But 17 like real questions that had been crafted total. Not just to Trump, but to both of them. Think about that. Only 17 questions. And the 10 follow-ups are basically just like, you didn't answer, or what about this, or the question was that. But that's not a lot of topics. That's not really a lot to get through, which is the good news for Kamala Harris. So the point is, the moderator can't spend too much time on the one because now you're down to 16. Now you're down to 15, right? Every additional answer he gives while you're trying to pin him down comes at the expense of something else. And those other questions are going to be important since you have so few topics that you can inject, given the short amount of time. I do think so he should stay on message. Immigration, inflation. I do think he's crazy if he doesn't bring up schools. We had Larry Elder on the program yesterday talking about school choice. That might be a way in. But the insanity that's being shoved down our children's throats at school from DEI, which now she's running from. Her new website where she unveils her policies, which I heard somebody say the other day looks like ChatGPT did it. It's very empty, but it's not woke. You don't see DEI or race or gender or those buzzwords pretty much anywhere on there. So she and the Democrats have gotten the message that this ideology is very unpopular, including with Democrats, and she's running from it. So he should bring it up. Bring it up about school choice. Instead, they have to go to these schools controlled by unions who want to shut down at the sniff of a nose. And on top of that, once our kids go there, they get race essentialism shoved down their throats, separating the whites from the blacks in some of these schools and telling 8-year-old boys that they might be girls if they like the color purple. Hello, that happened in real life to me, my children. So he should use that window, and he should not let her run from her wokeism, because like Biden, as soon as she gets in there, it's going to come back to life. She's on camera saying we should all be woke, as woke as possible. That's who she is, and he should raise it. He should raise crime, and he should bring up the fact that she was for defunding the police. She did fundraise for the BLM protesters who got arrested for breaking the law, and shove that down her throat, because we haven't heard much of that. Now that the country's realized what folly it was, many of us knew at the time, but now that it's become mainstream to accept how bizarre and off that was, she's running from it. Don't let her, right? Stay on it and hit the fact that we didn't have any foreign wars under Trump. He calls himself the peace president. He recently posted that. That's exactly right. Keep posting that. He's not the dangerous one. He's not the extreme one. We didn't have Putin invade Ukraine. We didn't have Hamas unleash an attack on Israel under President Trump. We didn't have a disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. That's a whole other field of opportunity for him. He should welcome that. He should inject that, as we just marked the anniversary, the 3-year anniversary of the disastrous withdrawal. Yes, he proposed a withdrawal, but no one in the country believes Trump would have done it this way. And he could even turn it around and say, let me tell you why I didn't do it in this way, and what was recommended to me and what I rejected. In any event, foreign policy is a strength for him. She doesn't know anything about it, and we all know she's a know-nothing. So I think those would be the main areas, like immigration, inflation/economy. Crime, I think, is good. DEI issues, and foreign policy. Those are all great issues for Trump, and he should lean into them and find a way back to them. Abortion's going to be 100% it will be raised. It'll be her best issue because it is in the polls. I think the moderators will come at it from the left, even though they shouldn't. To keep things interesting, they should come at it with her from the right. Are you too extreme? At one point, is abortion too late? Would you support restrictions on the third term? Make her say it's always between a woman and her doctor, whatever. We'll see. The smart debate comes at the conservative from either their left, or if there's a more conservative position than this guy is taking, then from his right flank. And same thing for the Democratic candidate. That's what they should do with her. She doesn't have a left flank that's more left than she is. So you should come at her from where the reasonable middle is in America, and they are not for abortion on demand all through the 9th month of pregnancy. In any event, Trump should not run from abortion, because he should not bridge away before answering it, because this is an issue on which he's hurting, and it's become the second most important issue to voters. So he does need to deal with it, and he's gotten to a good place. So he should lean into that good place and say, my position is the federal government has nothing to do with this issue. That was the rectification of Dobbs, that it pulled the federal government out of the issue and sent it back to the states, the 50 experiments of the states, like our Federalist founders envisioned. And now, in the same way that we have very different policies in California versus Mississippi, that's how it will be on this issue, a state-by-state experiment. And indeed, if you live in a state and you're very pro-choice and they lean more to a pro-life policy, that may not wind up being the state for you if this is your most important issue. But abortion is not ever going to be banned in the United States, and certainly not if I am president. I am telling you right now, if sent to my bill, if they send to my desk a federal bill banning abortion, I will not sign it. I didn't appoint 3 Supreme Court justices to overturn Roe, saying this isn't a federal issue, just to then try to make it one. That's not what I believe. The feds have no business governing abortion. I don't think it's constitutional for them to govern abortion, and I won't try to govern abortion when you put me back in the White House, the same as I didn't when I was already there. And I think he can add, there's only going to be one person on this stage who thinks it's appropriate to legislate this issue at the federal level, and it is this woman over here. We are sponsored today by Donors Trust, the tax-advantaged way for conservatives to simplify their charitable giving. Charitable giving is about more than goodwill and a tax write-off. Conservatives understand that civil society made possible by private philanthropy is often more effective than yet another government program. Donors Trust offers donor-advised funds, which work like your own charitable savings account, helping you simplify and manage your charitable giving. You make your tax-deductible contribution into your account, then grant out your funds to organizations like churches, education groups, and public policy institutes, or invest your charitable dollars to grow your future giving potential. Donors Trust handles the details and can even offer recommendations on where you can have the most impact. With the uncertainty of a changing presidential administration and Congress next year, now's the time to secure your charitable legacy with confidence. Visit donorstrust.org/MK to get your free donor prospectus. That's donorstrust.org/MK to increase the impact of your giving with Donors Trust. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.